Okay, we won't put a whole lot of time into this today because I know you're busy, I'm busy, everyone's busy, especially this time of year. But again, we still continue to move forward. And we had asked, go ahead and tune into the Science Channel, and we've got this going on along with the microbiology section. Some of you are either half done with your staining process, or maybe you are all the way done. Tomorrow, we'll go ahead and be over in the lab, see if we can get you individuals who are gone today maybe get wrapped up tomorrow, because the students that are here today will have the opportunity to maybe get finished today. And by Tuesday of next week, I would be led to believe that bacteria will no longer be viable, because usually by about the time 2 weeks have been here and gone, that's about the life expectancy we can try to get out of that bacteria. But anyway, regardless, this is where we left off with the orders of mammals that we have been discussing in class. And we begin going through all of these different orders that make up the class mammalian, starting with, as you can see, these two animals, the duck-billed platypus and the spiny anteater, going all the way through the primates, which we would consider probably the highest of intelligence of all of the mammals, just because of what we consider these complex behavior patterns. Now, it just doesn't mean that having a complex behavior pattern doesn't mean that there's more than thought processes that go into what we would consider intelligence. Okay, we consider dogs to be highly intelligent. Of course, we're not talking about humans, because we're talking about these animals here, the apes and the chimps, which would also have this large cortex to list these complex behaviors, which could be sorrow, sadness, other types of behaviors, maybe cooperative learning. And those types of behaviors or patterns that we would see take place certainly can lead to the success of those animals. Okay, so here, as you can see, are our rabbits, and that means these have a very short gestation period, which means they are very prolific. So you could presume that they reproduce very, very quickly. They're not the only ones that we would consider being prolific. We also would consider that being that, of course, the rodents. And with that, we consider these to be the most adaptable. And the reason for that is not because of their teeth, okay, but more so related to their size, okay. Gophers, as you can see, mice and rats, which would be just a little bit smaller than that of your rabbits. And another aspect that we would see is that they're the most numerous, okay, and most adaptable, is because they can reproduce so quickly, and probably the predation habits that would take place upon them, which is very odd when you look at that of India, where the population of not only people is quite high, but so are rats, because rats are considered as being sacred due to the type of religion of Hinduism that I believe a lot of the Indian people follow. Therefore, these are protected under Indian law, I believe. And that doesn't mean that that's why they're so successful. They just happen to be that successful in India. Okay, and then that moves us up to whales and dolphins in the order called Cetacea. And that gets us through number, it says slide 10, so maybe it's the 9th order. So we'll do this one. And of course, this is with their respiration. When water needs to be expelled, you could say, well, not water, but oxygen is taken in, and then the water does get expelled through their what it considers, of course, their blowholes. They use echolocation, so that's not just unique to that of the flying mammals or bats. We also have dolphins that use that as well. Okay, and then one more for today, and then I want to do a little illustration up on the whiteboard today, and then that will be it for this portion. We're almost done with your lecture materials as well. We have some more orders to go through, which we'll probably wrap up on Tuesday or the 28th, because a lot of you are gone again for next Tuesday, the 28th, down to Vermilion. Okay. So one of the things that we see that, no pun intended there, with the reason these animals can be so successful is because of their sight. They've got binocular vision. So with that ability, they can judge how far prey items are away. And that certainly is an evolutionary advantage to know how far something away, how far that object is, which then, as you can see, only accommodates the senses that they already have of smell and touch and taste. Okay, so we will stop with those orders here for today, because not only do we utilize these in vocabulary terms, but also as far as what we call a phylogeny tree. Okay, and we made an introduction to that with, we could say, that of the arthropods. And what we mean by that is as follows. Okay. So, for instance, what that means then, okay, is if we are looking at the entire class of mammals, it would look something like this, of course, and then this is where they all start to differentiate, okay? So we could put in this box, okay, there would be a multitude of lines in here, okay, and just the letter A means animal, a CH means characteristic. We would just abbreviate that just for convenience. Another characteristic, and a third characteristic, and then this would be the order. Okay? So when you fill this out for your evaluation, you are maybe given one or two characteristics, and then be responsible for the order of that mammal, and then what type of animal that is. So we don't want to just associate that with one of the things we had mentioned was feeds upon insects, okay? If that was, we need to have a little more continuity than that, because it's at that point you don't know if we're talking about this. Oops, there's no L there. If it's edentia, okay, or it could be this one. And then we're running out of room. Of course, there's one more. So we'd want to elaborate on that. So if there was another characteristic on here, or if we actually gave you the animal, we'll just go ahead and go with, of course, anteater. Then which ones of these would we be able to eliminate? Well, of course, they're not moles or shrews, so that takes care of those. Okay, and they're not these animals or insectivorans, which just then leaves that of Xanthara. So then some of the characteristics that we want to know with that of Xanthara, they have your unique vertebral column was one. Okay, and they lack teeth. Okay, so then one of the aspects, okay, we said if this was the information in this box, we know that they lack teeth and they have a long tongue. And the animals within that would be the anteater, which of course is the order Xanthara. And we'll go further into that at a later time. We just wanted to give you an introduction to this so we're not blindsided by that on next Monday and Tuesday. So we want to be able to have a general idea of the direction that we're going. This is it. We'll continue with this at a later time. So we'll be in the lab today. We'll be in the lab tomorrow for those of you who are gone for track. So go ahead and try to get caught up with your staining process. Again, try to complete both of them because by Tuesday of next week, this bacteria will probably not be viable. All right, we'll catch up to you next time.